Hey, this is On the Fence with Albert,
And Kelly.
and I think we're just gonna kind of recap. It's been a couple days since the inauguration, and we sort of did the podcast before, and there were a lot of things in the air. Um, I guess we sort of just I don't necessarily know if we're eating our words at this point. It's more of like
I guess
perhaps we were wrong about the timeline.
as you're reading a book, you you have an anticipation for something to happen that you like. I guess you're reading the book and you're writing it in your own head a lot of times, and you're like wondering what's going to happen next, and that did not happen with us. We
Right.
that did not pan out for us.
And that's not to say I don't think for either of us that the hope and the end game perhaps will still be the same. I
Yeah,
just think we're sort of on a cliffhanger, and the climax of the story was not where we thought it was.
yeah. I don't, the story won't end until we'll see, I guess. but
Hmm. Yeah.
um,
The newest, I guess, if you're looking for the newest conspiracy sort of where things are going, I guess I can just sort of run down like a quick backstory, and I don't really want to like get into the details because if we describe any of the details or any of the like fine tunings of it, we're more or less going to look kind of crazy. So if you, I guess from your guys' point of view, if you want to sort of search and investigate these theories on your own, we'll just sort of generalize them and let you know what direction to go to look. And I think at this point, the idea is that this runs a lot deeper than the United States government. I think um, like the idea of what could potentially be happening has sort of moved into like a an ancient holy war almost. Like
yeah,
we're talking about Illuminati and Templars, and I mean we're talking about everything being connected to the federal bank and DC sort of being a foreign territory that was under
yeah.
Roman law rather than a part of the United States government. So
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think we're trying to grasp for these things right now necessarily, but I think that there's still a reality of news that is coming out, and if you look back and see what all the things that he put in place um, concerning the U.S. government and where all of our foreign relations have been built in the last 4 years, he was setting the stage, perhaps, for a greater cause than just him being involved for 8 total years. Um, but like I said, that's not something we're grasping to necessarily. That's just something that
it's out there.
it's out there, and we're waiting to see what happens. This is, I think, I think we're in the middle of probably the greatest movie ever been televised, because that's the only way
Right.
we really get it is television, anyways. Um, until until a point of event where somebody actually comes to the door and says this is the way, and then we're all left to decide what we are to decide for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally for me, like where I stand with things is I don't necessarily know what all is going down, but I do know that it runs very deep. I think that it's a lot bigger than the United States government. I think it's like this is an international ancient organization that has been underground for a long time. I think is sort of what's in control of our government now, but I don't think it's just America. I think they have ties to everything that's happening at the moment. I truly believe that it is all in some way linked to the Vatican just because of the history there and the fact that they have so much of this gold that everybody seems to be so interested in. So there's sort of like a connection I'm sure of between this evil entity and the Vatican in my mind. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form that's me saying that it's in relation to God. I think that that building in Rome has become quite corrupt,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I just sort of see that as an epicenter, and how that comes out and how long, what the time period is. I have no idea. I do also wholeheartedly believe that good will triumph over evil. So,
Yeah, I think that if there's still good in the world, then that light will still outshine and shine through the darkness.
hmm
And so I think that there's still something to grab to, and we're here trying to search it with you, um, and come up with revelation as it might expose itself, and go from there. Um, I mean, there's all kinds of theories of what might happen politically, and I mean, I'm sure you've heard that what Donald Trump might run for the United States House in
Yeah,
Florida, and might take
the
over
the
from
Patriot Party.
Pelosi, and then well, somehow impeach both Kamala and Biden. This is all just
Yeah, off the
fantasy right
cuff.
now. Who knows? Who cares really?
Yeah,
It's really not up. I mean, we put a lot of faith. I put a lot of faith in Donald Trump over the last 4 years, thinking that this was the end all of the issues in America, and I'm I'm not gonna be one of those people that throw faith away because a man disappointed me. That's not what faith is about.
right.
So that's what I've been trying to tell people, that I relate to, and try to convey this thought of spirituality, of this is not faith in human beings. This, if your faith is in humans, then you need to recheck that, because people are always flawed. We will always be flawed. So
And obviously the opposite side. Obviously, like if I don't, we need to come up with like an official name for this evil syndicate or cult or whatever we want to call it that I believe is like basically controlling all of this on the back end. But um,
I mean, there's a
they,
deep state.
yeah, deep state.
Is the name that
But
Donald Trump gave it, actually.
I just feel like,
But that was more of the lines of the United States government. But
yeah,
like you said,
it's very
it
localized
goes
and
deeper
it's
than that. I think deep state has to do with a corporation of the of the
America.
of the of the of the whole world.
Yeah,
Like, I think it's incorporating the whole world in that. So call it what you will, but it's been given a name, and who knows?
but they clearly don't have faith in human beings. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's an opposite faith of what we're talking about, but if you look at that other side, clearly we don't know what it is, but they're they have their faith in something else, and it's not money, it's not people, because they are trying to limit the number of people, and they have all the money in the world. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're trying to undermine something, obviously.
I think that's my biggest question about this whole thing is like put yourself in that perspective other than some sort of unholy force, like some sort of evil as far as like the actual devil
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
What is there? What is their motivation when you're sitting on the world's stockpile of gold and you have dozens of mansions, and what would be the reason unless
yeah.
they
I think,
know something? I don't
I think it has to do with, at least a portion of it is undermining God's creation. I think that it's just slapping the whole existence in the face, trying to trying to,
trying to say they're better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we mentioned doing, we might be intro the new
Yeah.
podcast right now. We thought about, knowing us, we're gonna do it. Just
Yeah.
gonna take the time to get into the investing in the time in the scripture, but we're probably gonna end up doing some kind of Bible podcast at some point with scripture, and um, with that, I'll just kind of explain where I was going with the like the undermining of God's creation. I think Lucifer was the first one that thought that he could take over God's role and actually expand and go above God in his throne. He wanted to go above into the stars, above God in his throne, and obviously you can't do that because God won't allow it. So he was cast down. But the idea is that's still his goal. That's still his goal, is to undermine his creation and go far beyond where God is in his role in the creation of this planet. So, or the universe. And I can go into the universe, but we won't do
Yeah.
that just now. But
That's basically the whole point. We don't even have a title
yeah,
yet, but that was the idea is we're going to start to sort of try to separate I guess the scripture and the religion side of things from the political side of things, and that way we can sort of do this podcast for you guys and reference some things. But if those of you that don't want to delve fully into the scripture, maybe you can still listen to our podcast here, and then we'll sort of do like the more advanced back end delving into the scripture in the secondary podcast, just to sort of draw draw the line between the politics and religion, because I have heard from a couple of our listeners that it's sort of like we're really back and forth hard. Like one episode is is predominantly scripture maybe and faith, and then one episode is we're just hammering down politics and everything's about like human decisions. So I just sort of feel like we need
That's
to.
the whole on the fence thought
Yeah,
though
yeah, that's
process. I mean,
true.
not to say that he's whoever that was isn't observing observing correctly, but it's
And
uh, this is gonna be on the fence.
just at
So
the other thing is we were sort of uh, on the fence between the two of us with it, and now as far as the scripture side, we may be falling into a pretty wholehearted one direction.
yeah, I mean,
I was
I think that it's either that or somebody ends up hurting someone. We were going down a dark road there, and I'm really seeing the light in more ways than one at this moment.
right,
And choose what you would choose. But if you're that hard, if you're that dark minded, then there's something else to be sought out. So I mean, politics isn't out that at that moment you let that go if you feel that way
right.
at the moment. You
And I
take
think
it you take it with a grain of salt if you'll go ahead and get into it at all. So
that's basically where we're at. I think with this whole episode right here after the
hmm
inauguration thing is just sort of like
recentering.
yeah, recentering, learning when to let go. And I mean, we kind of did that with the Finding Peace in Chaos episode,
hmm
but not. I don't feel like. I feel like we were still feeding a lot, and I don't want to be on the. Not that Linwood's doing anything bad, but he took a lot of heat basically for where he was
And there's a
with it,
lot there's a
and
lot of political and military figures. Telegram will see who's even real at that rate, but
yeah,
who's just taking on a form. But um, there's people that are should you figure would know that don't know, and people that you think that wouldn't know are saying weird things, and you don't know where to take it. So
yeah,
it's and then you got Donald Trump talking about he's gonna be back in some form. That could mean anything. It's like
you
there's
got
too
lies
many
on all ends,
cryptology going on. There's too many cryptic messages going over to take it anywhere. I mean, at this point, we don't have any decision in this, or we don't have any control in this. And I personally like it that way because I'm an idiot.
right?
I don't really want like
I was.
I don't want that. I don't want that anyone to have an outcome because of me.
And I think we could have done a better job of it, but I think we were sort of also saying the whole time that we didn't necessarily know. We were trying to keep a speculative viewpoint, and I don't know. I mean, in addition to all of that, there's nothing really. Oops. There's nothing really saying that what we were saying was going to happen didn't happen. There's
Right.
nothing saying that all of that may have gone down on inauguration day. It might have only been the first step, and we might not be allowed to see it yet. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen stuff trying to prove that like the inauguration wasn't even in DC.
No,
Like,
I saw some things about how it was pre-recorded and somebody in the UK saw it an hour before it happened
yeah.
or something like that.
And then
Like I
the
didn't.
car outside the window, did you see that? When
I,
Biden's in the Oval Office and he's signing papers and the papers are all blank. You can zoom in on the
oh
window,
yeah, yeah, I
and
saw him
then
in the office.
out the
Yeah,
window in the
out the.
background it shows a car, and then it shows they do another one where President Trump is sitting there, and they show like where that position is in the White House, and it's impossible for a car to have been there.
Nice.
It was almost like it was set up. And like I'm not trying to
No, yeah,
fuel
it's like
fuel anything with that, but these are things that like you guys can dig into on your own, because at this point
it's
that's
all
where I'm.
conspiracy at this point,
Yeah,
and as
everything.
far as we can tell, there's a plan that we're not allowed to know, and
Yeah.
if there is not a plan, then sue us for caring, I guess, for a hopeful outcome.
There might even be the grand plan, and it might not even be good. I mean, it
no,
might
but
all be fake
I
for any
don't.
more even more evil reason. I
It's
don't know.
it's it's really something to be considered though that if there is a plan, we don't even know if Donald Trump knows the plan.
Right. Yeah, I had somebody else say that to me like, "Well, if there was something, then Trump Jr. would be tweeting about it." Well, I don't know.
I don't know about
That's
that.
saying an awful lot
Yeah.
about the Trump. I mean, he probably did a lot, but if you want to consider what we're considering that this is like a grand plan,
Like,
and
So the guy got in office for 4 years. Why would he know everything?
Right. This
Why
is
he had D class options, but that only goes so far. I mean, the deep state isn't going to allow him to have all the information
no.
that they have.
The only people that I think are going to know all of that is the military. They're deeply classified people in our defense department are the only people who probably know the whole truth. Honestly, half of those deep state members probably don't know the whole truth. Like if you were to pull Pelosi aside, give her some kind of truth serum, and let her spill everything she knows, I bet she doesn't know the whole plan because you
Hmm.
can't orchestrate something on a
Well,
scale that big without
and you can't
having
give that much power to one person.
no.
You can't, because
It
that
would
would be a
fail.
horrible idea. And
Yeah.
then somebody would know,
Yeah.
and then somebody would end up killing that one person. And that one person would be gone, and then information gone for life.
Yeah.
So,
And we do know that these people, these corporations, even if there is no plan, we know for fact that a very small group of people control a majority of the internet. They control a
hmm
majority of the servers. They control like the operating system to your phone and computer are running.
hmm
They control the social media. Like all of that money is going to one place. So the one thing I can say for sure is that if they want you to know something, everything is going to read the same
hmm
because they own all of it.
which is why I'm ignoring everything right
Yeah.
now. I mean,
Yeah, that's very
unless
much.
it comes past me in a telegram, and I'm just like, well, I'm here. Might as well look at it. Especially if it has to do with like bringing down some kind of darkness in my mind. I guess, and maybe it's just an algorithm that's feeding my head. But
I'm sort of looking at everything at this point as like a fictional narrative, no matter what. No matter which side it's preaching for, everything is a fictional story and just sort of acknowledging them so that at the end I can, when it
hmm
starts to reveal itself to us, I can sort of piece it together, I guess.
right, right, yeah, and I mean, I think that there's still something to be said for having hope and not even like I guess where I'll back up a little bit and just say you live your life and continue until something tells you not to.
Right.
So there's no point in getting so wrapped up in stuff that you have no control over. I mean, back to the scripture, I guess, um, where the podcast pretty much solely got onto scripture, and we had a list of them, and the chat has them on there, and
Mm-hmm.
the don't fret, you have no say in what's going on. Just make it certain in your mind that this isn't going to go down. It's not going to be allowed to go down as horribly as you might think it will be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't at this point. Like I said, I just have no idea, and I'm not like dwelling on it. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. We need to just sort of keep living, but be aware and understand that it's it's just never happened. It's the
No.
evil on the scale of what we're predicting, like the doom and gloom of like the whole world is going to fall to communism and Biden's just trashing America and everything's going to be dark and we're all going to go into camps. Like it's just not going to happen. Something will will occur. I
Yeah.
mean, Hitler had all the shot in the world. I feel like when he tried this is basically where we're at. He was building the army. He looked like he had everything locked down. I mean, he just had people convinced the manipulation was at an all-time high. And thankfully, America came and sort of helped squash that. But something else, like I just don't believe that evil could reign that hard. So I think at this point, we're just sort of waiting. And the one thing that is, if I'm going to put faith in humans at all, or I'm going to like just hypothesize on what human entity could save the day, I think it's the United States military. And I think that those generals at the end of the day are only going to put up with so much before like they kind of fight back, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
There's something. I mean, it's something in my mind just keeps on ringing, and it's all just our opinion right now. I mean, it's all just trying to fill the gaps of where we've kind of gone wrong in our own thought process. But at this point, we're not invested in any of it. We're just, this could happen.
yeah. Back
all
back
all
on the
these
fence a little more.
all these, especially politically. But
Yeah.
where it comes to like the Congress right now, I mean, if I were Nancy and Chuck Schumer, and I had all the control in the world, why I guess would you continue to beat this impeachment thing to death?
Right. Why show so much fear if you feel like you've
So
won? So
there's still something going on. Maybe they just want to spit in his face. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's nothing I can really do to control it. I'm not gonna lose the control of my emotions over it. I'm not gonna feed into the fear of him being impeached at this point because it's all part of a plan. I mean, there's God's plan, there's human plan, and there's a plan that I still don't know of. There
yeah.
may be a third, fourth plan. I don't know. So I
That's
am
one
having
thing I will
control over it.
say that I've seen a lot of places, and the one thing that I will not do is I will not feel the fear that so many people are trying to feel about it. I think that like either have these people who are living in no fear at all because they think that uh, their side won and that
Mm-hmm.
we're all crazy and these people are really trying to help us. All these crazy radical deals are just for the good of humanity, even though if you really logically break it down, that doesn't make sense. But at least those people aren't living in fear. But then we have these people who sort of mildly believe that it was all wrong, but at this point, now that they've seen the inauguration go by, they're just like, well, I'm just going to sort of shrink away. I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to speak my opinion because I'm frightened now. They're in control and like I don't want to I don't even mean it in a bad way, but they're the Jews hiding in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
They're and it's just I just refuse. I'm sorry, but I will die at a young age and be standing in my yard preaching what I believe as they drop me to my knees. There's no way. I refuse to feel fear over something that I wholeheartedly, with every bit of my soul, know is wrong. And that's one thing that I just sort of wanted to put out there that I'm not afraid of them watching me. I'm not afraid of them coming to my house, and I will suffer those consequences when they come. But I refuse to put my beliefs down and lose faith in myself and what I know is right because somebody told me that they're powerful and they're gonna come in this doom and gloom. Well, if they are, then so be it. Because I'll sync with my beliefs before I hide in fear.
Yeah, I guess that's the line we choose to go and stand on. If your beliefs are wholehearted and in truth and in a wholesome reality, then that you can stand on that, and you can find the comfort that you're standing for something that's worth standing for. And if you don't have that belief system in whatever that might be, then you you're gonna have a dark time right now.
Yeah,
I
because
just
at that point you're losing faith in yourself, I think even. Like if you don't have that strong of
yeah,
a feeling about something, then what do you feel that strongly
yeah. I
about?
mean, like if you truly have faith in humanity, or or even lack thereof, I guess. But if you truly have faith that something you can do as a person would help the situation, then there's probably a good portion of you that might have suicidal thoughts right now because you don't
Yeah,
have any power.
which is incredibly dangerous in
Yes,
itself.
exactly. It's you find out how much power you don't have in times like these if you are truly or if you truly are leaning on that type of thing.
And in a time when they take all the power away from you, all of the free speech, they take everything. The one thing they can't take is what you feel within yourself. And if you give them that willingly, then everything's gone, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Like you're just lost.
Yeah, that's they're trying to piece away. They're trying to pick away at that. Um, but I guess the main, not the main maybe, but one of the takeaways right now is that they're they're going after this guy that was stepping on their throats for 4 years, or trying to shake up their whole way of doing things. Like it's never really been challenged for the last 3 4 decades. It's never been challenged, and suddenly they had this one guy willing to do it, and he's still out there, and they're still going after him.
Hmm.
There's not a let up. I mean, they
It's
realized who
almost harder. The pressure's harder.
they're
I feel like.
yeah, they're realizing that somebody did have the ambition and the resources, wherewithal, the motivation to care enough
in the backing of the people
Yeah.
because I
Oh,
mean
now
now
they're
they're just
yeah, yeah.
struggling. Like every
So
media source is struggling to censor
yeah,
the the I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to say woke because I hate that word.
yeah.
The passion, we'll call it.
I just heard the Passion of the Christ for a second.
All right, bad word again. There's a word. There's a word that exemplifies what Trump did for the people, but
Yeah, I mean,
whether he knew it or not, perhaps he just had a feeling. Maybe he has no idea. Maybe his whole presidency, everything he did was just on feeling and just getting the people to remember that they're powerful.
he might have known that we were going straight into communism if he didn't run, and we would have at least a little bit more time to fight it if he got involved. He might have realized that there's still like we're still looking at some pretty dark times, but that now there's 80 million people that are aware of it now.
Right.
Instead of just, oh, we're gonna sink with the ship because no one told us the ship was sinking.
Yep. Like, oh shoot, we're already underwater. Where
Yeah,
now everybody realizes that we're
yeah,
sinking.
yeah,
Like, oh no.
yeah. So I mean, I think that there's something to be said for keep your prayers on this country, and I mean, say what you will about the guy, but he's still a human being, and um, he's still within the plan, if you, I guess, and pray for Donald Trump that he and his family continue to be safe. Um, and that's kind of where my mind just goes is that he's still being attacked. There's nothing he can do to get away from it at this point. He's exposed
Yeah.
himself.
And it's just so sad and wrong. It's so wrong that that poor man can't just catch a break.
Yeah, I mean
We're-
he can't go to his house right now and think that he's not going to get hate mail or somebody marching around
in
or
death
whatever.
threats. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
going to bed every night knowing that you have death threats coming from all around the entire world, and all you ever did was try to help.
Mm. Well, and there's nothing no part of me that doesn't say that he doesn't know. But he also knows that he needs protection far greater than his Secret Service. So
Yeah.
there's but there's that. That's maybe made the last thought in the minds of Kelly right now. But um,
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good too. I just felt like, and we'll probably get back into like a different topic here in the next episode or
yeah, we
so.
just
But
probably needed to wind it back and at least recap, like he said,
yeah,
like Al said, and not like go quietly into the night.
yeah, yeah. We just wanted you guys to know that we still have hope, and um, I guess sort of are willing to admit that we were wrong about some of the theories. I mean, not that I had said that I knew them as fact to begin with,
Right.
but we sort of,
Put a lot of trust in him.
yeah, we did a lot, probably too much trust.
Yep. But we'll grow in that and continue to seek a little bit more wisdom in that.
Right.
So, all right. Well, I guess this has been on the fence with Kelly,
And Albert,
and
thanks,
thank you
guys.
for guide.